So you want to get started in powerlifting, but you don't know where to start. Luckily, you're in the right place. In this video, we will go through 8 simple steps to get you started from learning the lifts to competing in your first powerlifting competition. Now, this is the first video of a series of videos to helping you get started in your powerlifting journey. If you are new to this channel, welcome to the Strong Ambitions channel. My name is Norman Chung and I am a powerlifting coach for over a decade. And in this channel, we talk about all things powerlifting, including programming, technique, and competition performance. And my goal is to provide you with valuable information and insights so you don't make common mistakes that many other people do, so you can save on time, effort, and money. And here's a quick bonus for you. If there is something that you would like to see me make a video on in the future, just drop a suggestion in the comments below. I'm always eager to create content that addresses your needs and your interests as well. Now let's jump into the topic straight away. So how to get started with powerlifting in 8 simple steps. Step 1, find a coach and learn the lifts. Now, first things first, it's seriously useful to find you a coach who can guide you through the big 3. Now that's the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. And in the ideal world, you would find a coach who can work with you face to face so that you can quickly and efficiently develop an understanding on how to perform the lifts, as well as find out what technique works for you. Now, a good coach will help you develop a good enough lifting technique, avoid injuries, as well as progress efficiently. Now, doing so can save you on time and effort by avoiding potential mistakes that you may potentially make without guidance. And when it comes to technique, it can take a lot of time and effort to try and undo bad technique in order to be able to develop better technique. And you really can't put a price on time. Now, if you are not a stranger to the weights room, then you could potentially consider using an online coach, which can be a cheaper and much more suitable option for you. If you have a decent amount of experience lifting, or if you're transitioning from a different strength sport, you'll probably not need that much intensive coaching to find your technique. This might not necessarily apply to everyone, but if you have enough experience in a weights room, you're probably going to develop a much more better sense of your own body on how to move. But if you are an absolute beginner to lifting weights, I would say that an online coach is probably not suitable for you. This is probably because it will take a lot of back and forth spread over a longer period of time in order to be able to establish decent technique. Now, a coach who is experienced and knowledgeable can provide you a lot of value, and if you're not sure on who to go for, you can always ask around the community. Now, step 2, find a gym that caters to the big 3. Now, powerlifting gyms are generally hard to find, and if you don't have one that's necessarily local to you, you're going to need to find a gym that caters to powerlifters or has the necessary equipment for the big 3 lifts. Now, before you actually join a gym, you should definitely check out to see if you can get a tour. And the key things that you want to look out for is the following. Here are the pieces of equipment that you need to look out for. So the first one is to look out for a power rack or squat rack so you can squat. You want a decent bench press, preferably that's made with a single rectangular piece. You also want to make sure that the gym has plenty of 20 kilo barbells. If you can find a gym that has a power bar, then great, that is definitely a win. And also you want to be able to find a suitable place for you to be able to deadlift. And especially when it comes to powerlifters, we will often, make a decent amount of noise when it comes to dropping our barbells when we deadlift. So you do not necessarily need competition specific equipment for training, but it is useful to eventually build familiarity with the competition equipment so that you know what you're dealing with when you go onto the platform. Finding a training venue that has a powerlifting presence is going to be useful. Now, surrounding yourself with a supportive powerlifting community can be incredibly valuable when it comes to your motivation as well as making friends as well. Building friendships with people who are on the same journey as you is going to motivate you and inspire you, and so it will also contribute to keeping you accountable with your training as well. If you have a few gyms available to you, here are some other tips to look out for. Number 1, check out whether the gym allows chalk, as you are likely going to need chalk when it comes to deadlifts. And performing heavy deadlifts in a gym that doesn't allow chalk is going to be a massive pain in the ass. Number 2, check out whether the gym has any gym rules about dropping weights. Now, if the gym has these rules, it's going to potentially make training at these places very difficult, especially when you are getting to that level of strength with your deadlift where dropping the barbell will make a lot of noise. And obviously you want to take location and price into consideration when it comes to choosing a gym as well. Okay, moving on to step 3, find a program or find a coach to do your programming. So to make progress and keep yourself accountable, it is important that you follow a structured program. Now, when it comes to finding a program, it is very important that you choose a program that is suitable for your level of experience. By choosing a program that isn't suitable for you, you may find that you are unable to complete the sessions, find it too hard, or even get injured from it. So a good program will provide you a sweet spot for difficulty that will cater to your level of competency in the sport, as well as your training capacity. Ultimately, it will address what you generally need as a lifter. Now, with a beginner's program, it is likely to be simpler in structure, rely more on linear progression, more conservative to nature in terms of the intensity of the program. Now, with a more intermediate or advanced program, it may have more specific variations of the main lifts, and it may be longer in duration due to higher levels of volume of the overall program. One thing that is important to note is that an advanced program is not necessarily a superior program, as it may cause more harm than good. So you can either find a tried and tested powerlifting program, or you can hire a coach to create you an individualized program that's actually catered to you as an individual. A good program will ultimately lead to consistency, and when it comes to success in powerlifting, consistency is key. Step 4. Choose a federation and understand the rules. Now, when it comes to choosing a powerlifting federation, it is important to consider several factors that will greatly impact your experience as a competitor. Now, there are pros and cons to this, but powerlifting is a sport that is organized by numerous federations around the world, each with its own sets of rules, regulations, and philosophies. These federations act as governing bodies for powerlifting competitions and provide a structured environment for athletes to showcase their strength. And to begin your powerlifting journey, you really need to research and explore the different federations available to you, as they will determine how you will train as well. So you want to look for federations that really align with your goals, values, and aspirations as an athlete. And a good example of this is that some federations are drug tested and some federations are not drug tested. So other considerations that you want to take into account is the federation's reputation, its history, and level of competitions that it offers. While it's important to have an understanding of the different federations, it's also crucial to consider the practical aspects of locality. Depending on the location, you may be limited to competing in the federations that are accessible to you locally. Traveling to distant competitions can be expensive and time consuming, so it's wise to choose a federation that has events and competitions within a reasonable distance from your area. Now, each federation has its own sets of rules that dictate various aspects of the sport, including techniques that are allowed, equipment, and performance standards as well. Now, good examples of this would be, what is considered good depth for a back squat. So you want to familiarize yourself with the specific rules of the federation that you choose, as they will govern your training and competition preparation and participation in official events. And this knowledge will ensure that you train and compete within the established guidelines and avoid any disqualifications or rule violations. Now, moving on to step 5, you want to buy your competition equipment. Now, as a beginner in powerlifting, acquiring the appropriate equipment is crucial to ensure that you lift safely, comfortably, and adhere to the rules and regulations of the federation that you choose. Now, while some federations have very specific requirements, there are some essential pieces that are going to be commonly recommended for powerlifting competitions. Now, one of the first items is going to be a powerlifting singlet. Now, this is a one-piece garment that is designed to be worn during competitions, providing freedom of movement whilst adhering to the federation's dress code. Now, a singlet should fit tightly and allow for proper range of motion, so consider trying on different sizes and styles to find one that suits you best. But for most brands, they will often give you a range of body weights that the sizes are suitable for. Now, knee sleeves are a common piece of equipment that's used in powerlifting. These neoprene sleeves provide compression and support around the knees, helping you to stabilize the joint during the back squat. Now, they can keep the knees warm during performance, so they can provide you with comfort, as well as anecdotally provide you with a bit of assistance out of a hole when it comes to the back squat. So the next item is a lifting belt. Now, a lifting belt is an essential tool for powerlifters that will provide you with support and stability around your core through increasing your intra-abdominal pressure when you come to wear it. So when it comes to choosing a lifting belt, it's important that lifting belts come in different shapes and sizes. Key things that you want to pay attention to is the locking mechanism of the lifting belt. You want to find one that you prefer to use, and also you want to figure out whether you want a slightly thinner belt or a thicker belt. So if you are someone of a heavier weight class, then you may want to consider one that is slightly thicker. So a slightly harder belt may be a sturdier belt, but it may not provide you with as much comfort as you would actually prefer. Another important fact that you need to know is that you need to ensure that the belt meets the specifications set by your federation. Another item that's worth considering are wrist wraps. Now, wrist wraps are designed to help provide support and stability for your wrists, and these are often used during the back squat and the bench press. So one thing that's worth noting is that wrist wraps will often come in different levels of stiffness as well as different lengths. Now, if you are new to using wrist wraps, I would always suggest using a slightly more flexible wrist wrap or a slightly shorter wrist wrap to get used to the discomfort of having a tight wrist wrap around your wrist to see how you get on with it. Now, while it is common for beginners to start with cheaper options when it comes to equipment, investing in higher quality equipment can be beneficial if you know you are committed to the sport long term. Now, if your budget does allow for it, consider investing in reputable brands, as reputable brands are generally known for their durability and performance. Now, if you want to find out more about how much it costs to compete in powerlifting, check out this video tagged up here. Now, it is important to strike a balance between affordability as well as quality to ensure that you have reliable equipment that will last you through your training and your competition journey. Now, moving on to step 6, buy federation membership. Now, becoming a member of your chosen powerlifting federation is a necessary step to participate in their sanctioned competitions and fully engage with the powerlifting community. Now, membership will provide you with official recognition within the federation, and it grants you access to a range of benefits and opportunities. Now, the most important to note is that membership is typically a mandatory prerequisite for entering competitions that are sanctioned by that federation. And without valid membership, you won't be able to enter the competitions. Now, having a membership in your federation will give you an opportunity to have a say in how you would want the sport to move in that federation. Now, membership fees for powerlifting federations can vary depending on factors such as age class, and the fees from the memberships will contribute to the running of the sport within that federation. Now, moving on to step 7, enter a competition in your comfortable weight class. When it comes to entering your first powerlifting competition, it is a huge milestone in your powerlifting journey. Now, when preparing for an event, it is important to carefully consider the weight class in which you feel most comfortable in. By selecting a weight class that is actually appropriate for you, it can significantly impact your performance, overall experience, and enjoyment of the competition. And as a beginner, it is generally recommended to prioritize familiarity and gaining experience rather than focusing on cutting down to a lower weight class to try and be competitive. So if you are someone who's hovering between weight classes, then the safe bet is to choose the one that's actually higher. Engaging in your first powerlifting competition should primarily serve as an opportunity to learn, grow, and become acquainted with the process and atmosphere of powerlifting competitions. Now, by participating in a weight class that aligns with your current body weight, you can then focus on giving your best absolute performance without the added stress of a drastic weight cut or adjustments. So one thing that's really good to know is that when it comes to competing in your first competition, you're likely going to be inspired by the slightly more experienced lifters, as well as the supportive atmosphere that powerlifting competitions often foster. And the experience gained from competing is going to be priceless, and it helps build confidence, resilience, as well as a deeper understanding of what the sport is really about. So the day of your first powerlifting competition has finally arrived, and it's time to immerse yourself in this experience. So your main goal as an athlete in your first competition is really just to put up your first total. And the total is going to be the sum of your best squat, bench press, and deadlift. And once you get your first total, it's going to be a milestone, and this milestone will be the standard that you're going to try and beat in your next competition. And if you're just like anyone else, you're going to be hooked after your first competition. So I will be going through the running of a competition in a future video. So key things that you want to remember in your first competition is to remember what the commands are, pay attention to when you need to warm up, and pay attention to when your name gets called out for you to lift on the platform. And if you do know another powerlifter, it's useful to get another powerlifter to handle you in your first competition so that they can guide you on telling you what you need to do. And if you do end up making friends in your first competition, you should cherish these connections, as these relationships will provide you with ongoing motivation as well as a sense of belonging throughout your powerlifting journey. You should embrace the experience as your stepping stone towards future competitions, and even if you do make mistakes, don't worry about it, you're just learning. So there you have it. Those are 8 simple steps to get you kickstarted in your powerlifting journey. If you found this video useful, please click like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on the next video.